Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. There's another paid request, this time from Chaz. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics or randomness, re-reviews, commentaries, whatever, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for a film called Enemy Territory from 1987. And this is a film that I think to this day still does not have a DVD. When I first saw it, because I've seen this film before, I'm like, oh, that kind of sucked. Watch it again because it's for free on YouTube. It's okay. It's alright. I don't think a 6.3 on IMDb. I mean, that's higher than Hard Target with John Van Damme, which has like a 6.2. At least last time I checked it. I mean, because there is some interest to be had with the film. Again, when you have a film that's never even gotten a DVD release, there's an interest because without, I would say without physical media, but technically there's a lot of stuff that's going to streaming. Let's say the film somehow got taken off YouTube. I guess technically there are streaming sites that will have it, but they will have it as long as they want to have it. Because, believe me, streaming is not you own it. It's a glorified rental. And if they decide because it has something bad or awful or something that gets on morals or some kind of rights issue or something else, they could take it off. You'll never see it again unless it gets out there in another way. That's why I prefer actual physical releases of media because I have it here. No one can take it away from me. But that's another topic, another day. So the film's not bad enough to not get a physical release. And considering you got Tony Todd, the Candyman himself, as the main villain here, you have Ray Parker Jr., yes, the singer of the Ghostbusters theme. If you see things in your neighborhood, who don't call? Ray Parker Jr. is one of the stars here. You also have Stacey Dash, who was in Clueless. You have Jan-Michael Vincent, who was on the TV show Airwolf back in the day. The director of photography is Ernest Dickerson. So the guy who did the cinematography is the same guy who would go on to direct Surviving the Game with Ice-T, Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight with Billy Zane. Long story short, you have this insurance guy, played by Gary Frank, and in order to get a big sum of money, he has to go to a bad part of town, go to this dilapidated building to have this lady, nice lady, old lady, sign this insurance, sign it up on the dotted line. When he does, there's some little kids that he's trying to get by, and the kids take things the wrong way because they're little pricks. And those kids actually belong to the vampires, which is the name of a gang led by Tony Todd, who calls himself the Count. Tony Todd is a lot of fun. Tony Todd is giving it his all. Is very early in his career. I mean, this was '87. This is before he did the Night of the Living Dead remake in 1990. This is before Candyman. Definitely an early role for him. And so the guy doesn't know what to do, and his only hope is a telephone repair guy played by Ray Parker Jr., which is probably the only film that the guy who sang the Ghostbusters theme song was in a big role, and he's really the star of the film. Because Gary Frank, he's also the star, but he's one of my pet peeves on the movie. I don't like this guy. I didn't care about his character. Maybe because this actor, I just wish there was someone else in the role. Well, whether it be a Treat Williams or I'm trying to think of this type of character to be played. A Tim Robbins, Christopher Reeve, which he actually did a film called Street Smart around this time. Actually the same year, I think. Only that was Morgan Freeman instead of Tony Todd as the villain. I just wish it was someone else as the lead. Because this guy, I don't think he was a good actor. I thought it was the weakest part of the movie. And pretty much is these two going from A to B to C in this apartment building, hiding out, floor to floor. Once in a while they get into a little struggle, like the one punk gets stabbed in the back, some get shot by Ray Parker Jr.'s character. Jan-Michael Vincent is a guy who plays a deranged Vietnam vet who has a safe room that our two terrorists hide out for a bit. Stacy Dash is related to the old lady, and she helps our two leads. It's not a lot of action. Now, I don't know if it's because of the budget. In a way, this kind of got remade. Not really, but a better version of this movie is Judgment Night. Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Stephen Dorff, Dennis Leary is your villain. I've seen it done better. Granted, that came out after this, but I saw Judgment Night first, and that film just did it better. It was more stylistically directed, it had a bigger budget, so that you were able to do a bit more physically. You're able to do a bit more with the action sequences. Again, what makes this an alright watch is the novelty. The novelty of seeing Tony Todd as the villain. The novelty of seeing Ray Parker Jr. Because we all know the Ghostbusters theme. And if you see the music videos, you see Ray. And, oh, was he in a movie? Yes. And he's not bad for a first timer. I've seen much, much worse. He's not finessed with his acting. He's not a guy I would cast in the new dramatic performance, but he served his purpose well, and I liked him a lot more than the white guy, Gary Frank. He was he was supposed to be a wimp because he hasn't done anything in his life that had him set up for the situation. So it made sense that he's freaked out about it, but his acting just wasn't up to snuff. Some of his dialogue, its changes, there's a reason why you did not see much of this guy except TV work. Episode here, episode there. I think maybe he was in a few episodes of The Love Boat. I'm like, there's a lot of actors you could have gotten. Or you didn't even need the guy. You could have had Ray Parker Jr. himself. Ray Parker Jr., he's going to see his lady who's in that building. Maybe he comes out and this punk kid does something wrong, and Ray Parker Jr. didn't do anything wrong. And it's a race for survival where he's got to fend for himself. He's going from A to B to C. The other thing is the song at the end. Friend or Foe by the Boogie Boys. Now, the reason I say that, when you listen to the song, it's going to remind you of something. And since it's October, you know what the fuck, you'll know. Trust me, you'll know. Because you don't think I'm playing a different piece of music. I like this bit. And no, Michael Myers doesn't come out anytime in this movie. I don't know how the fuck they didn't get sued. I think because this film was so under the radar that to this day no one knows what the fuck this movie is. That's the only reason. Because John Carpenter will sue somebody. He sued, what was that movie, Lockout with Guy Pearce? That came out like 2012. That sci-fi film Lockout. John Carpenter sued that movie because he said it was too much like Escape from New York. And apparently he won. I don't know what he won, but he won the lawsuit. So I do remember when I first saw this, I'm listening to this, I'm like, what the fuck? That's the Halloween theme. But I like the beat of it. Bar, da 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 da, da 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 da. And even the store's not too shabby. The store's not too bad throughout the film. The photography inside the building, some of the dim lighting, when our characters are moving through the hallway, it does make the feeling of a dangerous place to be. So there are merits to it. Again, Ernest Dickerson's photography of the building inside of it, the store, the recognizable actors. And yeah, I like Jan-Michael Vincent. It's sad that his personal demons caught up with him, his alcoholism. Because I liked him in stuff like Hooper with Burt Reynolds. I thought he was rather good in that. I do remember a few episodes of the TV show Airwolf. He did a good job in that. He was in Extra 2, which I didn't mind for what it was. But yeah, there's once in a while a line, like Ray Parker Jr. says a line to the effect of, listen, I don't care if he's white, black, or a fucking fudge ripple. Like, what? I had to rewind it, and I listen. I'm like, what do you say, Ray? I don't care if he's white, black, or a fucking fudge ripple. That's what I thought you said. What the fuck does that mean? Fucking fudge ripple. But it made me laugh, and I'm like, okay, fucking fudge ripple. I gotta steal that. So I think there's enough little merits here and there that will get people interested. I mean, if you look at the cover, if you're like, wait a minute, Tony Todd is the villain, the Candyman himself, the real Candyman. The guy from who sang the Ghostbusters theme song is one of the leads. It's pretty much these two guys trying to survive Dane from killing their ass in this building. And then again, yeah, Jan-Michael Vincent, Stacy Dash, all these other things, including that song at the end. There's enough little, and it's not too long. The film is an hour and 30-some minutes, give or take. It's a watchable time waster. It's just, again, Deary Frank as a lead, I thought he was rather weak in his performance. I would have preferred a different actor. I don't mind the way the character is written. It's just the way he was performed is my issue. And I did not find him believable in selling his lines. I mean, I'd be more upfront for him to try to sell me coke lines, than, his own fucking dialogue and lines. And I'm trying to think of what other actors around this time. I'd have to look at like a list of what came out in '87 that could have the normal everyday guy in an extraordinary situation. Yeah, I had to think about that a bit. But like Tim Robbins around this time, instead of doing shit like Howard the Duck, I think he would have been more appropriate, or like, again, a better actor. But he's still up and coming, so he'll do this, smaller, low budget film before going off to do bigger things. And apparently Charles Band had a hand in producing this. Executive producing. So, like I said, I am surprised this doesn't have a physical release just because of all these recognizable people. You'd think you would at least be able to sell it on that front. But like I said, there's not a lot of action. It's not a lot of excitement. I wouldn't say I really found a lot of suspense or thrills. There's not a lot of, big body count. I mean, it's average at best on that front. Yeah, I just wish it was a bit grittier, or a bit more tense, or a bit more violent, a bit more bloodier. I think it would have worked out better, as well as a different lead. But Ray Parker Jr., it was fun and novelty since to see him. And I say Tony Todd, he was really committed as the villain. You pray, motherfucker. And he's doing this stuff with his body language, his eyes like this. Put his feet like he was committed. He was not phoning it in the slightest. He's worth a watch for him. And like you said, it's maybe it would be a different. It'd be an interesting double feature with Judgment Night. Like enemy territory's a all right start, and then Judgment Night showcases how you really hit that type of format home, and much more successful venture. But I guess if anyone who's ever seen Judgment Night, this might be a film you would be a little bit curious about, like a little bit of a precursor to that. So, and not, yeah, I don't, I'm not. It doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. It's just, yeah, I don't think it's a 6.3, but it's all right. I'd give like maybe 3 out of 5 stars. I couldn't give it higher than that. But it's not bad for a movie that you find free on YouTube. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.